This video will show you how to add thoughts and dialogue to your writing. First, in your writing, you can add thoughts to show, not tell, what characters are thinking and feeling. For example, "Mom would have a fit if I acted like that," thought Sharon. You can also add dialogue or conversations to show, not tell, what characters are saying and how they're saying it. "I don't care what you say, I want some candy and I'm going to have it," Jerry shouted. Adding thoughts and conversations like these to your writing makes it more interesting and helps the readers feel like they're there. So what are the rules for adding thoughts and dialogue? It's important to use the correct punctuation when adding thought and dialogue to your writing because without it, readers can become very confused. Pause the video now and read the following paragraph. Press play when you're done. As you can see, that paragraph was very confusing without quotation marks and other punctuation marks to show who was talking. So, what are the rules? Well, rule 1, you must use quotation marks around the words a character is saying or thinking to help the reader understand the story. Quotation marks are placed before the first word and after the last word the character says. Here's an example. "Yesterday, my dog ate my grandmother's hearing aid," said Bobby. There should be quotation marks before the first word that Bobby says and after the last word that Bobby says to show that this is what he said out loud. Rule 2, a quotation starts with a capital letter. This is because it's the speaker's first word, even though it might not be the first word in the entire sentence. Here's an example. Susie asked, "What time is dinner?" So even though the first word in the sentence is Susie and is capitalized, the first word that Susie says, "what?" the W should be capitalized. Rule 3, to show who is talking, we use a tag. He said, she said, they yelled. Tags can go before or after the quotation. Here's an example. "Mrs. Johnson said, 'Please follow me to the lab.'" Or, "Please follow me to the lab," Mrs. Johnson said. These are tags. Now, really important to note, there should be a comma or some other punctuation mark separating the tag from the quote. Think about it. When you read it out loud, you usually pause there, so that's why you need a comma. Here's a comma after the tag before the quote. Here's a comma after the quote before the tag. Now, if the tag comes after the quotation, like this example, the first word does not need to be capitalized, unless it's a proper noun. So we capitalize Mrs. and Johnson because that's her name. But look at this example. "I love science," she said. In this example, the tag is after the quotation. We don't need to capitalize the S in she. It's not a name, and it's not the beginning of a sentence. Rule 4, this is an important one. End punctuation, that includes commas, periods, question marks, exclamation points, go inside or to the left of the ending quotation marks. So take a look at these examples. "Where is my dog?" Question mark. Then the quotation mark, she asked. Johnny exclaimed, "I'm a millionaire!" Exclamation point. Then the quotation mark. Miss Higgins said, "Please start writing in your journal." Period. Then the quotation mark. Okay, but there is an exception to this rule. When the tag comes after the quotation, like this example, and like this example, you cannot put a period inside the quotation mark if it's not the end of a sentence. If you would normally put a period there, you're going to change it to a comma. You can't put a period because it would create two separate sentences and one of them would not be complete. So look at this example. Jenna said, "I miss my dog." If you put the tag to the end, it would say, "I miss my dog," Jenna said. So right here, we would change that period to a comma because when the tag's at the end, it's not the end of a sentence. So again, that exception is when the tag comes after, you can't put a period inside the quotation mark. That would make two separate sentences. Instead, periods are turned into commas. Notice that in this sentence, where the tag came at the beginning, you can put a period at the end of the sentence and the end of the quote because it's done. There's no more to the sentence. And last, rule 5, every time a new speaker has a line, every time the speaker changes, you need to start a new paragraph. If you're typing, you press tab on the keyboard. You must indent. "Josie, sit up, please," her mother said, sitting at the dinner table. Her mother always wanted Josie to be a proper young lady, but she never felt the same way. You'll notice there's an indent here, right? You can create that by pressing the tab button on your keyboard. "Sure, whatever," Josie mumbled back. So since her mother was speaking here and now it's changing speakers to Josie, again, we need to start a new paragraph and indent. So those are the 5 rules for adding dialogue to your writing. Are the rules the same for adding thoughts? Yes. All 5 rules apply to thoughts. The only difference is you could use single quotes instead of double quotes when you're including thought to show that it's not really said out loud, it's in the person's head. Or if you're typing, you can make the thought into italics to show that it's not being said out loud, it's only in a character's head. Here's an example. How could you do this to me? I asked. So since that's out loud, we have the regular double quotation marks. I can't believe she's even my friend, I thought. In this example, the writer used single quotes. It's not being said out loud, it's in her head. Or, how could you do this to me? I asked. I can't believe she's even my friend, I thought. You can see that this time the author put the thought into italics. Either one is fine. Now you try. It takes a while to learn the 5 rules of dialogue and thought, and it takes practice. After this video is done, I want you to choose one of these sets of people and in your notebook, practice writing some dialogue between the 2 characters. Try to include a few lines for each character in these conversations. Don't forget to follow all 5 rules and use your notebook to help you. Good luck!